movements here after the failed rotation did. It seems like they have somewhat abandoned the tri-lane now, moving the supports a bit towards the mid lane. Looks like they maybe have been stacking the ancients for the bristleback as well.
Alliance are always happy to kind of farm and play a kind of slow-paced game. They're somewhat more reactionary to what their opponents are doing. If there's no kills in the first 10-15 minutes, normally that's the kind of pace that they're totally okay with.
But do you think that's okay this game, given the two drafts?
It's more important about keeping your towers alive than finding kills, so they need to react to Mineski if they're grouping up to go for pushes, because towers will drop very fast to Exorcism and the Nature's Prophet, which have to sustain from Healing Ward as well as the Juggernaut.
Mineski converging on the bottom lane here, perhaps three heroes. They smoke around. Jules, the man in front, is waiting for the opening. Doesn't really want to go in Loda though. He's looking for that Keeper of the Light, but Alliance playing very cautiously. They have the lane ward. The pings are coming out. MP into the tree line, and well, they're going to find the person back here first. Look at this. Is going to be so it's a 1-for-1, a bristleback or a death prophet, but Bulldog just chilling top lane, working towards that necro book, and does shove it in.
And that rotation there, a lot better for Alliance than SQL.
Grabe si Bulldog talaga
They lose their death prophet
Bulldog.
in some ways.
Bulldog yung magano nyo. Yung necro na.
Death prophet on the sidelines means no transition into
Rosip
taking
na lang.
objectives. And Bulldog getting a lot of alone time. His necrobook time is going to be very, very good this game.
They want Macareno. He's up pretty far here. And the flank has been prepared. They've got a Queen of Pain, the Sonic Wave ready to go. And they're just going to MP down. No problem to get that kill. Touch push over a bit late. Not enough to grab the kill there as Esco will blink away to safety. Up to 1,300 gold now. So the past few rotations definitely favoring Alliance, and you could see them going towards their patented efficient support play in the mid game here as Keeper of the Light stacking up the jungle a bit over on the south side of the map, and I imagine we're going to see those ancients getting stacked fairly soon.
You always know that.
Ito yung kaya ng nature yun.
Not going to matter when you catch up using those stacks. So Loda's slow start, not something too problematic, but what's problematic is when you use that Sonic Wave, this is a long cooldown that typically you don't really think of it as important.
Kakabuhay na lang.
But in this Alliance draft, most of their burst damage early on when you've got low-level support. So with those Sonic Wave, Mineski feel very safe to take an early tier 1.
Yeah, until that Necro Bolt comes out with the Mana Burn as the last hit mid lane, low to the Raging Potato. You probably don't have to burn.
Basag eh, first basag.
They get on the board first here as far as those ever so important towers go. We close in on the 8-minute rune.
And for Mineski, it's all about picking up all those team fight utility items. Get the drum smack on the Nature's Prophet, get the Veil on the Death Prophet, get these utility items going. They maybe go for a mech on the Tusk because of how farmed and how good the start Jules has had, but you get those early team fight items, this bristleback will not be anywhere near as effective as you'd like it to be.
Map this game out a bit for me, God. So moving forward the next 5 to 10 minutes, what are the key overall long-term objectives for these teams?
For Mineski, it's systematically taking down towers one by one. Whenever you've got Exorcism up, group up as 4, have your 5th hero farming, be that someone like the Juggernaut or the Nature's Prophet, and then they rotate when it looks like the fight's about to happen. You don't want to commit all 5 heroes to the push, because that's when Alliance will just out-farm. You need to make sure there's some kind of plan B, which can be the Juggernaut Phantom. You see him farming at bottom lane, while the rest of the team grouped up top, looking to push and pressure another tier 1 tower.
Yeah, he feels very safe right now. It's going to take a roar into a Scream Sonic Wave or a big Coddle Blast to bring him down, and that's not materializing for now. But top lane, the push is, even without the Exorcism, they're actually cutting the wave here with the Death Prophet while they siege with Treants. Mineski looking for the second tower of the game, while in the mid lane, the counter push comes from Alliance. 2-3 heroes grouping up there.
And as far as mapping it out, I talked a lot about what Mineski do, and the reason I didn't talk so much about Alliance is because they are going to be the ones who have to react to Mineski. They see a push up, they poke it mid. They're not even realistically, they're not going to get this T1 tower, they're going to get damage off on it, but there's no real big aggressive play Alliance can make outside of smoking around their ultimate, so now that Raw and Sonic Wave are back up, they can try and take a fight, but they're going to be the ones getting the initiation of. They're going to be jumping someone like the Death Prophet, bursting her down with Sonic Wave, or bursting down someone like the Juggernaut with the Sonic Wave.
And I imagine the key to that is the Beastmaster here. Bulldog, he's been very quiet thus far, but as I say that, you can see Alliance creeping in. They smoke breaks. Jules in good position here. He jukes back to the trees. Alliance, they don't have him. The Tusk sniffs it out and backs away, and that's the debut of the Necro 1. So now that the Lions want to push, it's a straight-on siege.
I love that Bender doesn't even think twice. He just immediately TPs to the mid lane, recognizing that, okay, a smoke down bottom means he is not safe there. Even if Bender's behind him, it's a level 5 vent, no swap available, and you can't reliably blade through TP away from a roar. So he immediately groups up with his teammates, ready to get aggressive.
Now they are getting aggressive. A caravan of 4 heroes swinging around towards the south side of the map. The man in front, who will be scouted here, is S4, but they don't have that instant initiation out in front, so he can just walk away. Looks like the siege will be repelled, but the tower has been brought low, the glyph forced out, and it will end up being denied. Alliance, their first tower, not getting that additional bonus gold that they're looking for. Mineski, Exorcism ready, are just heading straight down this lane, looking for their third tier 1 tower. Seems like Alliance so far, guys, they're losing the pushing game despite having the Keeper of the Light.
And as long as Mineski are grouped up as 5, Alliance can't easily fight into them. You roll someone, there's potential for a snowball pickup to save them. So you can't reliably get that burst at the start of the fight, and that means that engaging a Mineski is very difficult.
They're going to snowball. Speaking of this one, takes the loss, puts them to spin. Now it goes down. Then they have to block quarterback. Raging Potato wants a piece of that action. But while that's happening, Queen of Pain is pushing in mid together with Bulldogs Alliance. Split pushing for all their work, not wanting to take the head-on engagement. Mineski, they keep the pressure up. Exorcism ready. They may pop in here momentarily. Alliance, they just don't have the deepest. They're going to roll deep for this. Shards off the mark. Oh, they might be a bit too hard. Tools getting lifted, dragged back towards the tower, but Raging Potato there to zone them out. This drops so TP from the respawning Keeper of the Light. All the while, Alliance working on a tier 2
Exodus kanina pa.
They took 2 towers, so they can defend their tier 2 at least.
Spinning forward, looking to kill off that Necro Bolt. They get that bit of bonus gold from Bulldog.
I mean, great trades from Mineski.
Huwag lang nila patabayin yan si
The
Bulldog.
only play Alliance can make there is to try and split push using their Beastmaster Necrobook, which is still just level 1, and Alliance's lack of teamfight really starting to show here. Big problem is the supports are still very under level. Only just now, Rubik's hit level 6. Keeper Light has the level 3 Illuminate, but Mineski just kind of brute force their way through, and this is before they even have a mech pickup. This only gets harder and harder to defend as the kind of core items come up on some of these utility heroes. The Death Prophet's going to Veil. Tusk is going to have an urn, so if they start getting kills, then you've got the sustain for your push, where you can, if someone tries to get bursted, they survive, you heal them back up as well. So very difficult to slow down Mineski right now.
And perhaps equally importantly, you mentioned how hard it is to go on a hero when there's a snowball stage. There's now a swap available as well, so Mineski can be even more confident in their sieges. Loda, meanwhile, he's been quiet on the bristleback, pushing in that bottom lane. And so I guess looking at the way the game's developed, the Lions clearly on the back foot here. They don't have a ticking time bomb type hero, gods. The panel talked a lot about anti-mage, I think especially the Naga Siren, maybe even like a Phantom Lancer. We didn't see one of those heroes drafted, so how do they turn it around? How do they get control of this game back, and what's their timing window?
They ideally want to keep disrupting Mineski's momentum. They're looking to take towers while grouped up. If you can slow down that process by finding pickoffs, it means like, okay, Jug or Death Prophet's dead, Mineski's not going to be able to push. So ideal scenario is you figure out who's going to be alone. If it's Nature's Prophet somewhere like solo pushing a lane, go and get the Nature's Prophet. If it's Jug, try and smoke him as they tried earlier on at bottom lane. It didn't work, but you've got to keep looking for that play.
Oh, Mineski, they saw that ancient stack being cleared out. I believe heroes running back and forth, and now they creep into the pit, maybe thinking even the Roche was being tempted. Are they going to sneak in? Did Mineski have the cojones for this? You bet they do. Into the pit they go, Wave of Terror, very carefully thrown to the south so as not to be easily scouted by Alliance. Bottom lane is pushing and no one's defending. Alliance might have an idea of what's up, but they've yet to move into the pit. They really need to start channeling up that first Illuminate.
He's got no TP as well. Exmo's just not going to be here in time.
They don't have a blink on the Beastmaster. They just got to waddle into the pit, and it's far too well. Mineski snagged the Aegis right out from under the watchful eyes of Alliance. Not vigilant there when they needed to be, and certainly another win for Mineski, who we mentioned all the sustain they have for a push, give them a second life.
I think the big thing Mineski have to be wary of as they go for push is they're still very low level. You haven't got level 2 Omni Slasher, you haven't got level 2 Exorcism. These two ultis receive big upgrades when you get to level 11. So I'm fine with them going for these tier 2 towers, but they need to not jump ahead of themselves and say, okay, we've got Aegis, let's go high ground right now. Because they could get punished there if they're not careful with the AoE of Queen of Pain and the Keeper of the Light Illuminate. There's still plenty of counter push for Alliance. Alliance will not give up easily here, despite the Aegis push coming their way.
Mineski so far, they've been very disciplined, very prepared for Alliance's movements, and they continue to slowly work on outer objectives, not diving too deep for kills. They get the mech, they chip at the tower. It's Alliance on defense. Mineski continuing the onslaught, but Benner will drop low. He gets forced back. The healing ward there to regen him up, and again Alliance flip pushing. Queen of Pain and Beastmaster, two peas in a pod, constantly grouped up together. Tower will be denied mid. As the Radiant Glyph comes through, they are teleporting in reinforcements to the top lane. Jules the first man in, he gets the snowball off his bulldog, attempted for the ward. They're going to roll for this, actually no, it'll be fine. But now they chase forward on S4, blinks out. Can they catch him? Sprout getting fogged here, it is nighttime. Turns, he's got the arcane move. Not sure if he'll kill him in time, but he does blink away again.
Oh, blink into
Radiant Potato. That's the silence here. One more point. And this last point enough, he TP's out, but Alliance creating some space, slowing Mineski down. They did get the tower to my mid. Yeah, they're not crumbling under the pressure.
Oh no, Alliance are playing fantastic from behind, under the pressure. They're not trying to force the fight. I mean, this is classic Alliance. It's, okay, we're behind, our way back in the game. This is kind of been a split push. This is just what they kind of became known for during the TI3 era. They get whatever they can elsewhere on the map, avoid the team fights. But the problem is, Mineski, they get back to that top lane to defend, they're instantly transitioning into a push. So they're already on the offensive once again with the Aegis, and likely this last out of tower is going to be dropping 16.5 minutes of the game. At some point, the high ground push will come.
This game of keep away continues for Alliance, but Mineski are going to call for a game of chicken. Come home, Alliance, your base is in trouble. Home is under siege. If you on mid, Alliance also sieging. They're going high ground too. Who's going to push faster here? We'll have to see. They work on it, but Bulldog does get caught by a snowball. There's the walrus punches while the tower's down, and Juggernaut spinning his way on the Bulldog. They're trying to bring down the base master. Goes for the TP. Able to finish him off with the assistance from Troll, so they give up the kill, Alliance do, but they do force Mineski back, and they get the tier 3 first.
This is such classic Alliance. They're actually delaying the push. The Aegis will be expiring very soon. We're not going to be able to see the successful high ground.
It's this one, and I think it's something important you mentioned. It's no level 2 Omni size, but more importantly in this case, no level 2 exorcism. They just don't push as hard as they need to in that situation.
And one of the weaknesses of the Mineski draft we're seeing is the lack of catch. When we kind of got to that last bit pick from Mineski, saying some of the panel talk about, like, okay, we need to see a catch here, or something that can get picked up. You've got kind of a swap, but generally you're looking at bench swap as a more defensive save tool. Tusk Snowball, not really a reliable instant initiation. You don't have that Chronosphere, that Rattle Blink Blackstone. You don't have that Centaur Blink Stun, the Slider Blink Crash. There's no instant initiation to punish Alliance's split push, and Alliance are just taking advantage of Mineski's limited ability to pick off heroes. Major Prophet can eventually get a Hex, but that doesn't come until much later on.
Mineski swinging back towards the mid lane. We have seen some additional item pickups here. The Queen of Pain Orchid complete at the same time. The Raging Potato grabs his Yule Scepter, so a retort there perhaps. Just classic items for these heroes. The Necro 3 online now. And Alliance creeping forward, but Mineski appear to be wise to this. They do have the ward. They see it coming.
I want to fight while X is on cooldown, but at the same time, initiating on Death Prophet's name is not ideal.
They are going to have to elevate. Find Jules first. That's a little bit sweeter, but Bimbo's got off a really nice. Exorcism coming. He's got a double spirit sight, and they cannot fight him head on. They're trying to go for
They are going all out. They want the pipe, the neck, the drums, every tool to throw at Alliance for the team fight push that's going to come. And if they can put themselves in a position where they keep up this fight, there's no split push to worry about. They're going to have everything they need to break the high ground.
That was not the ideal way to start the team fight. They killed the toss, but he buys back immediately, rejoins the fight. Death Prophet gets off a full exorcism with double spirit sighting. They don't even try to kill her. You mentioned she had Aegis. They didn't even try to, kill her once the exorcism goes down. She just has free reign in the team fight. It felt like Alliance just didn't get the right hero first.
They even stole the Omni Slash on EGM. He stole the Omni Slash, turned it around, and was split between all the trades and everything. So EGM with the big plays he makes.
There's a Yules here down at the bottom rune. It looks like we might have some action breaking out. Snowball forward onto S4. He blinks back. Oh, Jules. Lucky he didn't end up on the wrong side of that run. But that's still hunting and they roar. They commit, and that one would be a dieback. So Jules, a bridge too far for him. He does go down. Be on the sidelines for 40 seconds.
Not too big a deal. As long as you're not dying around Aegis, respawn, or Alliance kind of split push timing, you're looking okay. And that's just 30 seconds where the rest of the Nesby team need to not get caught out, continue farming their next couple of pickups, like the pipe that I mentioned with Death Prophet, Bender, farming at top looking for a Mantis time. So you'll have a way to get out of the Queen of Pain Orchid. Picking Bender off is just not going to be an option at that point.
Looks like we'll be settling down here. That next throw chance still a little bit of a ways off.
Hindi lang
I
nasasaktan.
guess the question is, Gods, how fiercely do you see this being contested? Who's going to have the edge around the pit?
It's still going to be Mineski, despite Alliance having Beastmaster Vision and a pretty good AoE team fight with the Keeper of the Light and the Queen of Pain. If you get Death Prophet in there, if you're willing to commit the extra, Mineski can pretty much secure themselves Roshan. They've got Healing Ward, which can be placed on the cliff. They've got Juggernaut who can blade through to block a lot of the magic damage. An Exorcism with the mech and pipe to back it up is just, you've got this kind of unkillable Death Prophet who has two defensive supports to save, Snowball and Squat. Killing these frontline cores is very, very good.
Well, it seems Alliance, they want to try and play the Mineski game here. They got a mech up on Ake. We did earlier see Loda building his own Hood of Defiance, so perhaps a pipe will be next on the list for the Bristleback. And they're basically going to fight fire with fire, but S4, top side of the map. Assassinate the Queen of Pain.
Nice silence
to start that one off. Just doesn't have an escape plan at that point.
Interesting, it looks like Raging Potato Bimbo decided not to upgrade the hoodie, had the headrest which he sold, and he's transitioned into a point booster, so perhaps deciding just the his singular defensive capabilities with the hood is enough. It's the rest of his team. Juggernaut can seek high ground just with Blade Fury. We saw that earlier from OG, where No-Tail just slow sieges with Blade Fury. He backs off when it wears off and goes back in when it's back up. So with the Hood of Defiance, he's just Inky himself, and it's kind of a bit more cost-effective approach to the game.
Mineski transitioning off of that Queen of Pain kill immediately into a push, but it's right as the Bristleback completed pipe comes out. Exorcism pop nice and early, but that blinding light does not matter against these ghosts that just pound into the tower. It's almost down, flip forced out. This time, no split push from Alliance. They'll be fighting this one head on, and we do see Bulldog wrapping around for the flank. Any second now, the Beastmaster could get the jump, but Dumaneski realized they built the shards. They knew he was there. They did a vision behind them, and they snowball. Kill that pig!
The important thing for this is not to get caught on the retreat. With Exorcism where it's off.
Speaking of which, there is a Manta up here in Ben-Hur, so he's absolutely fine against this Orchid, and they continue to chase Bulldog. A kick lucky there, or unlucky with the shards rather for Jules. And to the north side, the Queen of Pain all comes through, but Ricky Potato relatively healthy. Ben-Hur on the run, the Ghost chasing him back, very discombobulated from Esky. They are going to lose the Potato potentially here. Throws out the Yules, but Jules will fall. It could be him next. It's the Scope of Exorcism going for one. EGM completely wrecking Esky, 3 hitting the deck. And off to the mid lane, it's going to be up to the old Baccarino to push these lanes back out.
Bulldog positioning that fight is so good. Even with himself getting spotted by an observer, he prevents the Mineski retreat. The problem is once you've committed the Exorcism, Alliance are trying to initiate on you as the Exorcism is wearing off. So by the time that team fight breaks out, Mineski are fighting without their most important spell. The majority of their damage output coming out of that Exorcism, and Alliance, they can force the fight. They have Bulldog preventing the retreat, they have the frontliner, the Queen of Pain and the Bristleback running in to catch heroes as well, and Mineski kind of just over-committed at that point.
Just wasn't really the best approach to the fight for Mineski, where Alliance just caught them out, and stealing Exorcism there guaranteed at least 2 additional kills. So great play by EGM. Perhaps Mineski needed to back a bit sooner.
Well, for that, we'll see perhaps Mineski slow down the pace of this game and look to at least get themselves an Aegis first. I think they're going to recognize from that fight, if they want to commit to a push, they're going to have to fully commit. Like, you can't just poke at the high ground, expect to get a T3 tower and then be able to back off. Bulldog is going to be in a position to prevent that. with a Blink Dagger and Necrobook, it can be very pesky.
Well, you mentioned catch. They get a little more here now, as well as just more defensive capabilities. Tusk now grabbing the Blink Dagger. So Joel, despite the death and then the buyback into a dieback, he has managed to complete a core item here on the Tusk that may give them the jump they've been looking for.
Yeah, on top of that, the Nature's Prophet from Bocarino is going to be building into a Cypher vibe, so recognizing their lineup's big gap is the lack of kickoff. They're going to build those two items to try and resolve things.
Game settling down now, a very even clash thus far. Only at 3,000 gold and 2,000 experience advantage for Maneski. It's felt like the tempo has been almost entirely theirs for most of the game, but here comes Alliance rumbling down towards the big rock in the pit. They want this Roshan. All cooldowns online for Maneski. And they're working on it. The scan will come out, and they frantically scramble towards the pit. The Nature's Prophet has the teleport into the pit, ready to go. The entire Maneski squad are just bulldozing in already. Not completely caught out.
It's a nice one!
Not an easy to bring out another spirit segment. He shrugs it off. This guard doing work as Bocarino rolling his way down. The Nature's Prophet hits the deck. And Maneski, they do see some stragglers here, but they're very tanky ones. Can they really kill off Loda? This bristleback is not an easy game. They roll under him. Sitting on the backside of the fight, just looking for spell steals, looking for a salvage it. As both winking back, and Maneski chasing forward the keeping them out of the fight, and Loda desperately jooging for the trees, getting nuked down bit by bit. They finally almost not quite. They want to slay that beast, but he's still alive in the trees. He's closing to it. Maneski, there they go. Finally bringing him down, but it comes at cost. They've spent so long on the bristle that Alliance get to clean up the field on the back lines. It ends up being 4 Maneski heroes dead. When the dust settles on Alliance, they race forward bottom.
A dieback from Nature's Prophet on top of that. That is an incredible teamfight execution from Alliance, taking the chance to get into the Roshan pit, securing themselves Aegis, and that lift slowing down the initiator of the Death Prophet's march towards the pit was just so important from EGM. And suddenly Alliance are pushing forward 30 plus seconds without Death Prophet and the Nature's Prophet. This is looking like a potentially hard to defend push coming out of Alliance.
If nothing else, all the lanes will be shoved in. Alliance will be able to get some deep wards down, potentially go for that tier 2 top, but screw that, they say. We see an opening here about 20-30 seconds before the exorcism's even up, and they jump on Escort, and he pops the BKB. He silences Benhar. There's the swap from Cat to try and save an Escort. Hunting deep. Can he get the kill? Benhar's angry. He wants some vengeance. Can't find it though. They've already lost the bench. Just respawn back to the grave. They repel the push. But it's another free kill for Alliance as the Nature's Prophet all splashes through. Alliance still healthy through this. They're resetting. They may end the push here, but it's just a small additional increment for them as you see top lane creeps from Maneski, giving them a little bit of damage on the range cracks, but it's not something that's going to win them this game on its own.
And that last fight, one of the biggest problems for Maneski was also they just focused too much onto S4 who had Aegis. They could have, yeah, you don't want to focus a Bristleback, but he didn't have Aegis. The S4 cleanup pain did, so they take out the Aegis, but then Loda managed to run circles around them while that's going on, so see how things transition out of this one. Maneski need to slow things down a bit. No longer are they the ones really controlling this game. Up until this point, before that Aegis, Maneski tempo was all theirs. They were the ones dictating play. Alliance were continually reacting to them, but finally Alliance get themselves into this game in a big, big way.
So if you're Maneski, it's quite clear for the itemization. They wanted to take that first lane of racks away from Alliance. You can see it from all the repeated push attempts, the focus on Roshan, the pipe on the Death Prophet. These are all early to mid-game items for Maneski. They wanted to end it early. That's not happening, at least not without a catastrophic failure from Alliance. So, given that, gods, do they reset? Can they reset and look for late game? Because Alliance just have to beat there. What are their options?
Death Prophet's always going to go great late game. Spirit Siphon scales incredibly well. You've got Jug, Nature's Prophet. You've got a 3-core lineup with 2 good scaling supports. You've got Save, you've got physical damage, amplification coming from Venge. So, by no means is late game a weakness of the Maneski draft. If anything, it supports heroes like Keeper the Light who maybe fall off a bit the later this game goes. And even Bristleback, not exactly known for his late game prowess, so I think Mineski just needs to settle down and breathe more than anything. You've gone even with Alliance for 30 minutes. Perhaps your draft's intent was to win the game by this stage, but by no means does your draft also not go to the late game.
Well, you say there's a plan B. Let's see if Mineski feel that way. They did go for a pretty bold smoke all the way back from their base towards the top side of the net. Crucially, did get a lane ward down there in the top lane, but are exposed racks.
But I'd like to
But didn't find a kill.
Yeah, finish some of these core items up. Finding pickoffs just kind of, it's almost that confidence boost. If you smoke up and get a kill on someone like the Beastmaster or Queen of Pain and Core Hero, great. You're not going to maybe push off of it, but it's just like that nice little sigh of relief, like, okay, we're still on track, our draft's still working. But following that, finish off your Scythe device, get Nature's Prophet disabled, finish off your Death Prophet Soul Booster into Bloodstone or whatever it may be. Similarly, get the Jug for his next item option, get the Blue Dagger up for now, so it has that gap closing item for his team.
Yeah, went for the Diffusal Blade. Yet to really see him unload those charges, but now does get the blink as well. Some more split push, a little more maneuverable in the fights, and potentially some solo kill potential. It's Jules now feeling confident. On that lane ward is creeping up here in the top lane. Haven't really seen him able to make big plays here down the stretch, guys. He had the great start in the laning stage, setting up the first blood in the double kill mid, but a bit quiet on the cusp.
See what we can get done. He needs to make those big saves on more targets as this game goes on. Keeping Death Prophet alive is going to become the #1 priority for Mineski when Exorcism is going. You need to make the line scared to ever fight into Exorcism.
That and the swap. And we saw the swap last time, able to save the Jug, but if Alliance weren't diving tier 4, that might not have been the case.
Alliance has just been really good at hiding around the
Yung one
Exorcism,
thing ba
or at
yung
least
ano?
kind of minimizing their losses. Like, okay, you're going to keep 3 towers, we're trading with your base, and then we're forcing the fight as your Exorcism wears off. Because anytime there's no Exorcism, it feels like Alliance can fully commit and engage into
The amount of sustain these teams are building is just ridiculous now, as we're going to see Ake grab the Aghanims on Keeper of the Light. So we've seen pipes, crypts and guards, mechs, urns, drums, now the Aghanims for the Keeper of the Light. Pretty much every single item in this game is an early to mid-game item. Like, everyone's just afraid there's going to be that one climactic fight out of nowhere, and if you haven't spent your gold on an item that can help you win the fight now, you're just going to lose.
Yeah, and Mineski are the ones trying to get a Rax by 20 minutes, and Alliance having to itemize to prevent that.
Even Loda going for Sanjay Yasha at the 32-minute mark.
Best of 3.
He is the most farmed here on the Alliance side. This is very cost effective for Bristleback. In terms of mobility, we kind of talked about the limited amount of cap on the Mineski side.
Quiet moments here, but it does feel like a calm before the storm. A lot of vision scouting out Alliance as they confidently move forward in their woods, but Mineski seeing that rotation, they're going to back away. So now it's Mineski playing the game of keep away. Not wanting to fight head on into Alliance, they do get a key one here though. The Scythe device now picked up for the Nature's Prophet. Once he gets a blink dagger, he is going to have some incredible pickoff potential.
Jet on Ake, but they managed to bypass him. Okay, Blade on his way through while smoke. So that's something which Mineski's kind of keeping eyes on his
May have noticed. Could be Jules getting caught out here mid, and see you later, he says. That's the bottom.
They get pulled in towards the mid lane. They see the recall on Lotus, so they should know exactly where Alliance are on the map.
The Death Prophet just TP top. Alliance seeing that. Are they going to go that way, or are they just going to say, hey, Death Prophet won't hit assist bottom, let's go for a flank. That seems to be the call. TGN out in front has the 4-step only, no blink dagger. Might be Jules who tanks this one, but he's popped the Haster and he's very difficult to wrangle. And the rest of Mineski again successfully thwarting the ganks from Alliance. The tables have completely turned though. They are the ones running away.
And yeah, and they're the ones having to resort to kind of the split push Rakdoda right now. You can see Trias is poking at the tier 3 tower bottom. The top lane's being poked at a lot as well, so resorting to some split push of their own.
You can see Cass there calling the shots for the team, saying push out mid, push out top, do not fight, and make sure that we're not losing in terms of creep equilibrium here as the game progresses.
Worst case scenario is you lose a fight and creep waves are about to reach your base. That's where you're going to lose a fight and then lose a lane of Rack. So if you want to, you know that Roshan is likely to be coming up soon. You get scouted out importantly by Mineski immediately. That sigil there as a respawn. So Mineski will be well aware that Rosh is back up and that it will be something Alliance will be flying off.
And that is why you want to push out these lanes, so that you can go fight at the pit, and Alliance cannot split push you with the mobility to keep a light range to the squad, but they may just go straight down mid. They're going to siege this creep wave. They're in striking distance of the tower. There's an exposed set of racks in the top lane. As the pings come out at the Roche pit, bottom lane creeping forward, S4 blinking back. Alliance scrambling the defense, and Mineski, they get cold feet. They're going to back away.
Bulldog, what's he going to be doing? He's going to be split pushing it up here at the bottom lane. Just having to throw the axes and probably get himself back to safety, but he wants to linger around as long as possible to make sure Mineski's made resources to defend this lane.
And they're already on the case. For every action by Alliance, there appears to be an equal and opposite reaction from Mineski, at least thus far. You push bottom, we push it out. You go defend top, we shove it back in.
Yeah, it's Mineski now the one reacting, though, as you kind of just highlighted there. This has really just been the last 5 or 6 minutes where that's been the case. And I think Mineski wanted to probably pick up a gem themselves, take out the Alliance, have a way to take out the Hawks as well, which are continually scouting them out.
That even heat though when it comes to net worth. With a game this even as far as the slow moments of the game go, it feels like that one fight is likely going to decide the outcome.
And one fight could be coming out of the...
It's easy way out in front. And back in a way.
I mean, Mineski know they're not at Roche. They have to train there, and that's...
It's gonna disappear soon though, and they may be forced to move in. Alliance, they poke.
They'll be walking right past the dire vision.
They're running up the hill. They're scouted by that dire ward. They're screaming towards the pit. Alliance setting up the ambush. It's going to be a quick kill at the start. And they cut out the pit. They have to save this death prop. And they snowball it forward in the middle of the entire Alliance squad. And now they're on the rescue. The exorcism goes back the other way. EDM though fairly squishy. Has to be careful not to get out. Eager for combat as S4 looks for the flank. He's going to get ICO bunkering. The silence coming out. Trying to burst down the MP. That's so fantastic, but they show him towards that road, but as soon as the light showed themselves there, and like you highlight, even with the stolen exit, I love EG's play. He hides in the trees, he's waiting for that to use the vision that he was going to get a guaranteed exit. Very squishy, and the team fight around Alliance are very dependent on bursting down here at the start of the fight. With the war into Sonic Wave, they've got to kill off someone like either the Jug, or the Death Puppet, or the Carlos of Fire.
Ito talaga yan.
Aegis? And to take Roshan and set themselves up to perhaps go on the push once another exorcism comes back up. And that's happening in 26 time.
That Octarine kicking in now. Mineski will have the full arsenal. Aside from possibly the outside, ready to go, and the siege commences. It's Jug out in front. 30 seconds on his ultimate. Raging Potato close behind. How do Alliance counter this? They're not split pushing. They've come home to defend. There's the glyph. A fresh sprout. Waiting for that next round of triads. It's slow and steady for Mineski. But they do have a to slow the Jug. So any moment, and exorcism is now committed. They run forward. Potato stays kind of beautiful blinding right by Aki, pushes it away from the team. And Harris back in. Potato wants to be as well. They can kill Roda, that's a tight back. But the hand comes as for unwinding it with the Sonic Wave. Will slay another death puppet down for 70. Alliance holding and returning fire. Here's the and down goes a third. Mineski have overplayed their hand. Alliance holds the high ground. It seems pushing is very hard to stay on.
In some ways take care of that defense. He just runs in, he throws away his life to defend the high ground. That is exactly what your call had to be. Lodad, go in and die. You've got buyback money. The only hero that didn't have that full commit to kill. That's someone like a Beastmaster or a Queen of Pain. You don't have to commit any resources to kill him, but because it's a Crystal Bat, throwing as much as they do to kill him is just a complete disaster for Mineski, and unfortunately for Deathpop, it couldn't get off the cheese. The Sonic Wave burst damage, I think, catches Bimbo by surprise, and suddenly it's a line on the high ground, looking to bring back and take the lane of racks for themselves.
Yeah, the animation canceled it a couple of times there, wanted to ensure that it snagged the kill, and indeed here it did. As loading gets caught out, remember that's a die back if he goes down. It's very important to keep the push back line. Unfortunately, Flora is insanely tanky as he continues to deal with all of the nukes that attack being thrown his way. Now the Lord on at least stop the bleeding for now, but they have lost a potentially decisive way to race. Mineski not out of it yet. They will get the Bulldog kill, down for 70. And it seems the game of ping pong will continue as this time Mineski charged down there.
Bulldog committed to a refresher, so he actually doesn't have buyback for a potential Mineski push.
But they won't have the exorcism by the time they get
No,
there.
and they're also just not quite unaware of the buyback status of the Beast Master. Maybe they can kind of piece it together based on the refresher. But more likely Mineski will just slow things down. We've lost one lane of racks at 40 minutes in. That's by no means catastrophic, and it's very much a possibility to kind of turn things around against that. So they ideally don't want to push and risk losing Ben here, who doesn't have buyback on the jump, and then kind of lose the game off of that. So see what Mineski's ideal approach is going to be, but for me, the best plan is to try and find those pickoffs, not try and brute force your way through lines. That's been their undoing this game, is just trying to break through the high ground by just sheer numbers. And then the problem is Alliance, they just always have this long range AoE damage, and they use their buybacks so well. That's to me been the biggest difference maker this game, is just the use of buybacks. Alliance, anytime they buy back, it's to win a fight. Mineski, it's to try and salvage a fight.
The one tool I feel we haven't seen enough out of from Mineski is the swap into Hex to start fights and to find those pickoffs, something that a lot of other teams have used in the past. But as I say that, they're smoked, they're creeping in, they are pushing straight down the middle lane. They're going to beat their head against that brick wall that Alliance has put up thus far, and this is where, looking at buybacks, there are 4 on the field, 3 for Alliance, only 1 for Mineski. They're not that far off on the bench, but other than that, nobody's really close.